What do you do when a political veteran launches a blistering attack on live TV, only to be deconstructed by a placid first-term congresswoman without ever a shout? You're about to see the moment go viral that turned the tables on how political debates are conducted. And it began with 5 words: "Thank you for your opinion." The studio hummed, lights burning brightly, camera operators poised, and at the heart of it were 2 women, Kellyanne Conway and Jasmine Crockett, and an unseen line cut between them. Kellyanne Conway leaned forward in her seat, jaw clenched, lips compressed. She came not to talk, not to hear, but to prevail. Opposite her, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett relaxed back in her seat, poised but attentive, hands clasped, eyes fixed, her demeanor subdued yet authoritative. "You're gonna come here and lecture me on how politics is done." Conway's voice was already rising before even being introduced by the host. "You're only a freshman. You don't even know your place yet." Crockett tilted her head to the side. "Thank you, Kellyanne. I appreciate hearing your opinion." The sentence fell gently, but it smacked like a brick. Conway blinked, not the reaction she anticipated. "Don't talk down to me, Congresswoman." "Conway, I was running presidential campaigns when you were conducting mock trials in the law school. I'm familiar with how these bills operate." Crockett remained stoic. "I would be happy to hear particular instances of the voter fraud that you're worried about. What evidence are you using?" Conway sat forward, tone sharpening. "The evidence is all around. Dead voters casting ballots, illegal aliens voting, ballot harvesting in swing districts. You people just refuse to accept it." Crockett's grin did not falter. "I know that you strongly believe, but I believe our audience and our democracy are well served when we base our conversation on facts that can be verified." "Facts," Conway snapped, her face growing hot. "The fact is, this legislation opens the door to anarchy. It robs states of their power to ensure elections and provides Democrats with what they desire: permanent control." Crockett hesitantly opened a folder on the desk in front of her. "Which provision are you speaking of?" Conway snapped. "Don't pretend like you don't know what I'm referring to. The voter ID clause. You people are attempting to abolish it altogether." "In fact," Crockett said, matter-of-factly, "the bill makes voter ID laws stronger by making sure that all Americans have access to a free government-issued form of identification. It doesn't take it away. It makes it more fair." "You're distorting it," Conway snarled. "I've read the bill. I know what's in it." Crockett paused. "Then would you like to go through the section with me?" There was a long pause. Conway didn't answer. The host attempted to intervene. "Let's discuss what this bill does as opposed to what it's accused of doing." "No," Conway snapped. "I'm tired of these lectures. I'm tired of individuals who've only just been in office acting like they know the nuance of election law." Crockett nodded simply. "I don't pretend, Kellyanne. I study, I read, I serve, and I listen." "You think you're so smart," Conway retorted. "You believe if you just keep your voice down and sound lawyer-like, you'll get your way." "I'm not attempting to get my way," Crockett replied. "I'm attempting to engage in a discussion that's respectful of the people's intelligence who are viewing." Conway was trembling now, her hair slightly mussed, face a deeper red flush. "You're not deceiving anyone. You're advocating a bill that allows Democrats to swamp the system with phony votes." Crockett gazed up, eyes focused. "Are you saying I'm attempting to commit voter fraud?" "If the shoe fits," Conway began. "I swore to defend the Constitution." Crockett cut in softly. "Each vote I advocate for is in the service of that. I've witnessed myself the harm inflicted when individuals are disallowed from voting." "Don't begin to lecture," Conway told him, voice shaking. "Don't pretend as if you're the moral authority here." "I'm not pretending to be anything," Crockett replied. "But I do know this: we cannot continue to make opponents out of people we don't agree with. If we do that, we're not having a debate. We're just yelling in the void." Conway didn't back down. "The Constitution does not specify that we must make it easy to vote." Crockett nodded slowly. "But it does state we cannot limit the right to vote in the 14th and 15th Amendments. So what we are really asking is not if we keep it simple. It's if we make it accessible to all citizens, whether they're rich or poor, urban or rural, black or white." Conway slapped her hand on the desk. Her water glass leaped. "Stop being so reasonable," she shouted. The studio fell silent. Crew members stood stock still. The host had his mouth slightly ajar. Crockett sipped a little water. Reasonable doesn't equal weak. Reasonable equals facts over volume. You're attempting to manipulate individuals, Conway growled. What am I manipulating? Crockett inquired. Voice never increasing. I've given you facts. I've asked you to walk through the bill with me, and I've asked questions. I haven't yelled. I haven't accused. I've merely responded. You think calm makes you right, Conway snapped. It doesn't. I believe listening makes us both stronger, Crockett said. Even if we never see eye to eye, you're behaving as if you're above it, Conway grumbled. No, Crockett said softly. I'm right here, invested, with you, respectful. I just don't feel that I have to shout in order to be heard. The host finally intervened. Congresswoman Crockett, what do you say to voters who get muddled by debates like these? I tell them this, she responded. The objective isn't to win battle. The objective is to understand problems and fix them together. But it works only if we are willing to end assumptions about the worst about one another. The cameras continued rolling. Conway scrambled with her notes. The voter roll section, states won't be permitted to sanitize their rolls. Crockett leaned forward. That's true. That is a concern. But the bill mandates that states use confirmed information and inform voters before they can be removed. It preserves accuracy, not anarchy. Will some individuals remain on the rolls after they're deceased? Conway grumbled. They are taken off once there's evidence of death. Crockett replied, pointing to a line in the document. That's not a loophole. That's a protection. I might have read that provision wrong, Conway said. Hardly above a whisper. It's all right, Crockett answered. Law is complicated. That's why we have this kind of discussion. To make clear, to enlighten, to educate. Conway cast her eyes downward, her tone no longer acerbic. These things are important to me. They are important to me too, Crockett answered. And I admire that they are important to you. The camera didn't miss a thing. The tantrum, the silence, the apology, but most intensely what it caught was restraint. The kind that doesn't exist in politics. I voted for this bill, Crockett said. Not to gain an edge for my party, but to give my people their voice. I've witnessed the toll of silence, of exclusion. I've witnessed men and women struggle a lifetime for the right to be heard. She stopped. Democracy is not about quantity. Democracy is about inclusion. The host glanced over. Congresswoman Crockett, thank you. Kellyanne, last thoughts? Conway appeared weary. I allowed myself to get emotional, she replied. That was not how I would have wanted this to end. Crockett nodded in agreement. We all love deeply, that's why we are here. And the segment came to a close. But the moment did not. It resonated on the web, in classrooms, in campaign headquarters, in living rooms. Because in a time when screaming is money, one woman demonstrated that soft-spoken, deliberate leadership retains authority, perhaps more than ever.